change the way you think about trading and investing, okay? Whatever I've learned over the last 25 years, I have compressed in this 30, 45 minutes. The topic of my today's session is all-weather return using options, okay? So there are patches in the market where equities does well. There are patches in the market when there is bullish environment. But there are patches in the market when there is bearish environment, when equity doesn't do well. So on bearish environment, if you play the short side of the market, by selling, I mean to say, when I say short side, you sell, then probably you make more money. And there are times where market does nothing. It remains volatile within a range, sideways and all that. So it's very difficult for anybody who is just trading one segment, either equity or futures or options, to make a consistent money. Okay, they have to go through a gyration period of not making money for a very long period of time. Then suddenly the patch of making money comes. You make money, again you stop making money. And the journey becomes very topsy-turvy. So today I'm going to share a framework which allows you to make money practically every year with minimum volatility and reasonable returns, okay? So what do you mean by all-weather return? So bullish, bearish or sideways? मतलब सर्दी हो, गर्मी हो या बारिश हो? That is all-weather, right? So क्या होता है बारिश? When there is monsoon, umbrella sells, okay? When there is summer, cotton garments are selling, and when there is winter, the sweaters and all this stuff are selling. So if you are a shopkeeper who keeps all three kind of stuff in the market, okay, you have three departments. One sells umbrella and raincoats, one sells winter wear, another sells summer wear. Will you ever be short of customers? Like customers will keep on coming because you are an all-weather shop, and when the customer keep on coming, your sales will improve and you'll keep on making money in all season, okay? So if you want to achieve this objective, there are 4 pillars to achieve this, okay? And the first pillar is diversification, second is non-correlation, third is leverage, fourth is hedging. These are the 4 pillars which will help you generate all-weather return, okay? So return is a function of how much access to the leverage you have from the system. So leverage, everybody understand what is a leverage? Or I give a simple example. When you book a flat through a builder, 1 crore flat, you pay 10 lakh rupees, okay? And flat price goes up by say 10 lakh rupees. So the flat cost is now 1 crore 10 lakhs. If you sell this flat, how much money you have made? How much money you have made? Anybody? Very simple. 10 lakh rupees? Okay. How much percentage you have made? 100%. Why 100%? What is your investment? 10 lakh your investment. Okay. So why you make this high percentage? Because essentially you are leveraged. Okay. When you buy something worth 1 crore, with 10 lakhs down payment, basically you are leveraged 10 times, okay? And that is why you make 100%, okay? So this is the brighter side of it, okay? Now what is the darker side of it? What if the flat price goes to 90 lakhs? What happens? Your capital gets wiped off, okay? So you want to have this upside of leverage which generates return, but you don't want to have a flip side, right? You don't want to burn your capital. So other 3 pillars will ensure that whatever high return you are getting through leverage will not get burnt out, okay? So what are these pillars? This pillar is diversification, non-correlation, hedging. These are the 3 pillars. Leverage, everybody understood? So return हमेशा function है how much access to the leverage you have. Like for example, Renaissance जो Jim Simons का company world famous hedge fund है, 66% return they have generated for 35 years. But if you take the leverage out of the equation, they have just generated 4% per annum. So they could generate 66% per annum because they were leveraged 12.5 times. That is why they generated 66%. So remember, whatever, like in option market, for example, if you sell call and put Suppose there is a 2 lakh rupees margin. But what is the contract size? Contract size is in and around 10 lakh rupees or maybe more, maybe 12 lakh rupees. So basically, the 2 lakh rupees allows you to trade an instrument which is 12 lakh rupees notional. That is, in that sense, you are leveraged 6 times. So option has a possibility of generating high returns because of the inherent leverage. Like option buying में तो खाली premium ही लगता है. So with 25,000, you are able to buy 10 lakh worth of instrument, right? In that case, you are leveraged 40 times. So इसलिए option buying में return भी ज़्यादा है और return खत्म भी जल्दी हो जाता है, मतलब capital जल जाता है, right? So you want to have that upside of leverage, you don't want to have a downside. So these 3 pillars will help you diversify the risk and control the risk and generate all-weather return, okay? So how can you diversify? What are the ways to diversify? So we will discuss one pillar after another. First pillar is diversification. So what are the 4 pillars, guys? Leverage is the first, diversification, non-correlation and hedging, okay? We'll remember this for life and it will help you, right? Diversification. How you can diversify? You can achieve diversification through various assets. This you can trade in Nifty, you can trade in Bank Nifty, you can trade in Fin Nifty, you can trade in stocks, you can trade in equity, you can trade in gold, silver, and whatnot. Agri commodities. These are, maybe you can invest in real estate, or this is asset diversification. Then instrument diversification. Instrument diversification, again, you can trade various instruments like Nifty, Bank Nifty, Fin Nifty, options, equities. These are all instruments, right? You can actually diversify across strategies. जैसे अभी Tanmay showed a short calendar strategy. That you can have a long calendar strategy also. You can have long gamma, short gamma, multiple strategies you can have, right? Time-based strategy, you can have option buying strategies, selling strategies. You can diversify across various time frames. You can have intraday, you can have positional, you can trade in weekly, monthly, maybe long-dated options. Diversification of geographies, you can trade in India, Dubai, maybe Hong Kong, maybe Singapore, maybe USA. What it does is, when you're trading only one asset, suppose this is an example. If you have a one asset in the portfolio, suppose it goes down 19%, okay? The moment you have 100 assets in the portfolio, your drawdown will be only 2%, okay? And the moment you have 10,000 assets, so when I say asset, I mean strategies or anything which generates return, that I call them asset. The moment you have 10,000 assets in the portfolio, your drawdown will be only 0.10%, okay? 0.10%. That means practically you can have 365 positive days if you are diversified across 10,000 non-correlated strategies, okay? So this is what diversification does. This is what non-correlation does. Non-correlation is basically, suppose only you have one asset and return to risk is 0.25 and probability of a losing year is 40%. The moment you diversify across more assets, suppose you have 20 assets in the portfolio which are non-correlated with each other, then your risk to return ratio goes from 0.25 to 1.25. The probability of losing year is 40% here, and it goes down to almost 1%. Okay, 2.5. This is 2.5 is the ratio, risk to reward. That means risk to reward ratio improved by 10 times. And probability of you losing year was 40% here, and it's only 1%. So if you're diversified across 20 non-correlated assets, the probability of a losing year is only 1%, which is next to nothing, right? A lot of people confuse non-correlation with negative correlation. Like for example, gold and equities have a negative correlation, right? एक बढ़ता है तो दूसरा घटता है. But when I talk of non-correlation, what it essentially means is कि दोनों का रिटर्न प्रोफाइल है ना रैंडमली कोरिलेटेड है, ठीक है? कोई एक स्ट्रैटेजी पैसा बना रहा है तो दूसरा स्ट्रैटेजी भी पैसा बना रहा है, ठीक है? कभी दोनों पैसा तोड़ रहे हैं, कभी एक पैसा बना रहा है दूसरा पैसा तोड़ रहा है, कभी ये बना रहा है कभी ये तोड़ रहा है, तो ये बहुत रैंडम है. एंड व्हेन यू रन अ कोरिलेशन ऑफ ऑल दिस स्ट्रैटेजीज इन एक्सेल, if the correlation comes 0, then that is a non-correlated strategy, okay? So you have to diversify adequately, you have to have non-correlation, okay? Leverage मैंने बता ही दिया. Leverage return is decided by the access to the leverage always, and this is not about creating system that maximizes return. This is about creating system that maximizes access to the leverage. The more the leverage, the more the return, right? But if you have excess leverage, you can actually go bankrupt, okay? Long-term capital management is a very famous case. They went bankrupt playing the spread, arbitrage spread पे उनका position था, but they went bankrupt because the spread widened. They didn't have money to do the mark-to-market position जो हुआ, उनका पैसा नहीं था उनके पास. Though it was an arbitrage position, they went bankrupt because they were leveraged 20 times, okay? So leverage is a double-edged sword. You have to be always careful. And you can use leverage to your advantage. For example, I've given you this illustration. This is a system-based. This is a backtest of 4 different systems. Okay, and this is long-only system which invests in equity. It has got a Kalmar of 1.56. Kalmar is basically return divided by drawdown. And this is system-based long short, okay? So this is only investing, okay? You are playing only one side of the market, which is bull market. The moment you play both sides of the market, long and short both, your return, of course, reduces, but your drawdown also reduces. So your Kalmar also increases. So the moment you have multiple strategies, this is only single strategy, long short strategy. The moment you have multiple strategy, your return again reduced, but your drawdown also reduced. So your Kalmar is improving here. Despite you having 16% return, it has got a very limited drawdown. So if you can take little more pain, like the pain of this system is around 12%, if you can take this 12% pain, you can actually leverage this system 2.6 times, and your return improves to 43%. So a 37% return improved to 43%, and drawdown went down from 24% to 12%. Drawdown half हो गया, return improve हो गया. This is what multiple non-correlated system does, which are adequately diversified and completely hedged, right? This is how you should use leverage to your advantage. Of course, hedging करना चाहिए, and options में कुछ भी strategy, whatever strategy you do, you should be completely hedged. Your risk has to be defined. If you are selling at the money, you please cover your out of the money call and put options, so that your otherwise what happens is you can blow off your capital one day, and you can go out of business, right? So this is what we call it Monalisa Framework. One, systematic investment. The framework that I'm talking about is a Monalisa Framework that we follow at our organization, and we ask our client to follow the same framework. First, you have system-based equity investment, which is long-term portfolio. Second, you have long-short futures strategies where you are playing both sides of the market, long and short both. If the market is bad, you are basically shorting the market. And third, we are advising our client to use multiple non-correlated option strategies. When you use all three, I will show you the backtest, how risk and return profile changes, okay? How your risk reduces and how your return improves if you use all these three, right? So I've given you an example of capital. You have 2.5 crore allocated to equities, and this is our actually live model on small case, all cap 35 CW, and it has got a return profile of around 28% per annum CAGR since last से 2019 से बैक टेस्ट है एंड 2023 से लाइव है, ठीक है? दिस इज लाइव सिंस 2023. You allocate say 50 lakhs to liquid, which you have to keep for mark-to-market adjustment, option premium buying strategies and all that. So basically 2.5 crore equity से आपने लिया, 50 लाख आपने liquid में डाल दिया, आपने वो सब प्लेज कर दिया और करीबन आपको 2 करोड़ का मार्जिन मिलेगा. 1 crore margin you allocate towards long short future, okay, which is 4 times leverage, and it can have as high return as 73% per annum because you have 4 times leverage, and it has a drawdown of 12, 13, 14, 15%, and actually इसका drawdown ज़्यादा भी हो सकता है, 20 भी जा सकता है, 30 भी जा सकता है, तो इसीलिए 1 करोड़ उसको कैपिटल किया है. One thing about this system is very certain is it is a positive expectancy system. Every year it generates returns, some return or other. Earlier it used to generate very high return. Of late, the returns are tapering. Last year it generated only 19% and current year is only 8.5% up so far. So with time, return profile also changes, but still it's a positive expectancy system and it generates good return. And if you allocate 1 crore to the options and you run multiple non-correlated, it's a combination of around 10, 12 strategies, and it generates around 32% per annum with around 10, 11%, 13% drawdown. So what was the drawdown in the first system? Long only system around 24, 30, between 24, 25% drawdown. Long short future had around 15% drawdown. This system has around 13, 13.5, 14% drawdown. All three, this is 32% system, that was 28% system. Before that, that was around 29% system, and one system was generating 73%. If you combine all this is how it looks. Okay, this is how it looks. Basically, you have 3 crore. Okay, you invest in equity, you invest in liquid, you combine it, so you have 3 crore. You pledge your equities as margin haircut. So, and what is the exposure in the market? Exposure in the market is 2.5 crore in equity, 0.5 in liquid, long short future, since you are leveraged 4 times, and options, since you are leveraged 10 times. Okay, options are 10 times leverage. Okay, and the total exposure in the market is 17 crore, which is 5.6 times leverage. Okay, so इसका ये systems का return कितना आएगा? अच्छा आएगा? अच्छा आएगा कि नहीं आएगा? जो बैकटेस्ट दिखाया उसके हिसाब से तो अच्छा आना चाहिए, बराबर है? बहुत हाई रिटर्न आएगा. क्यों आएगा? वाई? व्हाट इज द पिलर विच इज जनरेटिंग रिटर्न? लेवरेज. रिटर्न ज़्यादा क्यों आएगा? इसमें कितने लेवरेज हो आप लोग? हाउ मेनी टाइम्स योर लेवरेज? 5.6 टाइम्स. सो रिटर्न बहुत ज़्यादा आएगा. रिस्क इतना ज़्यादा नहीं आएगा. क्यों नहीं आएगा? नाउ योर आंसर, बिकॉज यू आर डाइवर्सिफाइड, because you are non-correlated, because you are hedging constantly. Okay, so let us see, if you combine these three, what is the risk and return profile? So combined return is higher than all three systems, 55%. Yes. Combined risk is lower than all three systems, and your Kalmar ratio has become almost 4.5. Okay, so by allocating capital systematically, you have improved your return using leverage, and you have reduced your risk using diversification, using non-correlation, and using hedging. Okay? Okay, great. So this is the correlation of these three systems that I've showed: equity, liquid, LSF, and options. Okay? Since it is not correlated with each other, risk has constantly gone down, and since we are using leverage, the return has actually bumped up. Okay? We are using some fundamental principle. Okay? Principle क्या है? कि when you are selling something, you have a defined stop loss, ठीक है, and you have a defined objective, rule based है. ऑप्शन सेलिंग से पैसा क्यों बनेगा? क्योंकि कॉन्स्टेंटली ऑप्शंस आर मेल्टिंग डाउन. इतना तो समझ में आता है कि एज द एक्सपायरी नियर्स ऑप्शन मेल्ट डाउन हो जाता है, ठीक है, और लास्ट में वो जीरो हो जाते हैं. वी हैव टू टेक एडवांटेज ऑफ दैट. दैट इज वाई वी आर यूजिंग ऑप्शन सेलिंग. ओके, फर्स्ट वर्ड एट द मनी. सबको समझता है एट द मनी मतलब, ठीक है, कॉल एंड पुट बेच देना है, सुबह 9:30 को बेच देना है, ठीक है. दिस टाइम कैन बी डिफरेंट फॉर, यू कैन एक्चुअली, मैंने एग्जांपल दिया है, यू कैन एक्चुअली चेक आउट द बेस्ट टाइम ऑफ द डे वेयर यू कैन सेल. सो एग्जिट एज 3:25. व्हेन आई सेल समथिंग, आई ऑलवेज हैव अ रिस्क इन माइंड कि भाई इसमें रिस्क हो सकता है, मार्केट ऊपर नीचे होगा, प्राइस कैन एक्चुअली स्पाइक. सो आई विल कीप अ डिफाइंड स्टॉप लॉस एंड आई विल जस्ट डू री एंट्री वन टाइम. ठीक है, तो डिफाइंड स्टॉप लॉस क्या है? ठीक है, there is no target, there is only stop loss. मतलब that option can go to 0 and you can earn all 300 rupees, or that option can go to 25% up, that is 375, and you can cut your losses and you get out of the system. Okay, so maximum पैसा कितना बनेगा? 300 का 0 होगा, वो आपका मैक्सिमम पैसा बनेगा. मैक्सिमम पैसा कितना जाएगा? 75 रुपीज़ पर ट्रेड. ओके, कॉल एंड पुट दोनों बेचना है, एंड यू हैव टू ट्रेल योर प्रॉफिट. वंस यू आर इन प्रॉफिट, you have to trail your profit 5% by 5%. That means if 5% is in favor, you trail your profit by 5%. मतलब 375 का आप 5% नीचे आ जाओ, फिर और 5% नीचे आओ. दिस इज हाउ यू ट्रेल योर स्टॉप लॉसेस. ओके, एंड इसके लिए कैपिटल मोटा मोटी अगर आप हेज नहीं करते हो, आई वुड ऑलवेज एडवाइज आप हेज करो, लेकिन अगर नहीं करते हो तो करीबन 3.25 लाख रुपये मार्जिन चाहिए इसमें. ठीक है, एंड दिस कैन बी एग्जीक्यूटेड ऑन निफ्टी. एंड दिस शुड बी, अभी निफ्टी का एक्सपायरी कौन सा दिन है? थर्सडे. दिस स्ट्रैटेजी शुड, you should run only on Tuesday, Wednesday and Thursday. Any reason why I am not choosing Friday and Monday? Anybody want to take a guess? Why not Friday and Monday? थीटा डीके कम होता है, right? As the expiry nears, डीके जल्दी होता है. I want to take advantage. When I am a seller, I want to take an advantage of the decay. Yes. Yes, same week expiry, Tuesday, Wednesday and Thursday. ठीक है. This setup can be executed on Nifty on Tuesday, Wednesday and Thursday. ठीक है. Let us see what is the backtest showing. So backtest is showing margin करीबन 4 लाख. इसने 2019 से हम लोग ने बैकटेस्ट किया है, और ये बैकटेस्ट में 0.5% स्लिपेज इंक्लूडेड है. 0.5%. ओके, अगर आपको स्लिपेज कम करना है, ज़्यादा करना है, यू शुड एडिक्वेटली एस्टिमेट योर स्लिपेज and then run the back test. Okay, करीबन 3.5 लाख रुपया बना है over a period of last 4-5 years, and it has got a maximum drawdown. So I want you to remember certain things. Capital requirement is 4 lakhs, maximum total profit is 349, drawdown is around 49,000, which is 13%. Your return to max DD ratio is 1.1, and your expectancy is positive 1.112. Okay, तो कोई भी स्ट्रैटेजी का एक्सपेक्टेंसी पॉजिटिव होना चाहिए, पहली बात. दूसरा, रिटर्न टू मैक्स डीडी रेशियो जितना ज़्यादा है उतना बेटर. थर्डली, ड्रॉडाउन लिमिटेड होना चाहिए और ओवरऑल प्रॉफिट अच्छा होना चाहिए. ठीक है, बाकी इसका थोड़ा डिटेल स्टैटिस्टिक्स है. सो फार सो गुड. किसी को कोई डाउट अभी तक? मैं आगे जाके ये आपको फिगर पूछूंगा कि टोटल पे ये रिक्वायरमेंट क्या है, ड्रॉडाउन क्या है. तो इसके लिए 3-4 पैरामीटर जो मैंने बताया, यू प्लीज़ रिमेंबर दैट, राइट. लेट अस गो टू द ऑप्शन नंबर 2. So why we are doing selling and why we are doing another strategy for buying? Because we want to diversify. Okay, एक selling है, एक buying है. एक में थीटा डीके हो रहा है, इसमें थीटा डीके नहीं हो रहा है, इसमें डायरेक्शन कैच करने का कोशिश कर रहे हैं, और we are trying to ride the trend. जैसे तन्मय ने बोला था कि 65% of the time market does not trend, 35% of the time market trends. So 65% of the time option selling will work, 35% of the time option buying will work. When we are running both the strategies, which has got a positive expectancy, you will see the result will be amazing, right? So basically you are doing nothing. You are waiting till 9:30. You are noting down at the money, and then you are noting down 1 in the money call and 1 in the money put. ठीक है, in the money सबको समझता है, समझ रहा है. So till 9:30 you are not taking any action. You are just recording 1 in the money call and 1 in the money put. Okay, wait for the breakout. So buying हमेशा breakout पे करना चाहिए. Buying जाके ऐसे ही नहीं करना. When market starts trending, breakout happens, that time you should do buying. So what is our definition of buying? Our definition of buying is buying the legs only when they go up by 15%. If any option goes up by 15%, I am buying, whether it is call or whether it is put, right? And very small stop loss, 25%. Whenever you buy something, keep a stop loss of 25%. Again, you trail your profits by 5% to 5%. That means if the price goes in your favor by 5%, you bring your stop losses up by 5%. Okay. Execute this setup only for 1 lakh rupees. You can actually, if you have 1 lakh rupees, you can execute this setup. Why I am saying 1 lakh rupees? Because premium तो 20-25 हज़ार रुपये ही लगेगा. मैक्सिमम प्रीमियम कितना लगेगा? वो एक लॉट लोगे तो 20-25 हज़ार रुपये लगेगा. बट आई एम सेइंग यू कीप 1 लाख बिकॉज इट इज़ अ ड्रॉ डाउन ऑफ 65,000 रुपीज़. ओके, दैट मीन्स 25 हज़ार रुपया एक बार जीरो हो गया, 2 बार जीरो हो गया, तीसरी बार 15,000 रुपये चला गया. अगर आप खाली 25 हज़ार से ये सेटअप करते हो तो आपका कैपिटल जीरो हो जाएगा. दैट मीन्स कि आपके पास जितना कैपिटल है उसका 15-20% से ज़्यादा अलोकेट नहीं करना चाहिए स्ट्रैटेजी को. ठीक है, इसका ड्रॉडाउन कितना है? कितना है ये? आई वांट टू हियर समथिंग. अगली स्ट्रैटेजी का कितना था? 49. 49,000, ठीक है। अगली स्ट्रैटेजी का टोटल प्रॉफिट कितना था? 349। इसका कितना है? 504। इसका कैपिटल रिक्वायर्ड अभी कितना है? 25 प्लस ड्रॉ डाउन, दैट इज 1 लाख रुपया, ठीक है। इसका रिटर्न टू मैक्स डी बेटर है उससे, इसका एक्सपेक्टेंसी भी बेटर है 0.14। नाउ लेट अस सी व्हाट इज द कंबाइंड रिजल्ट इफ वी रन दिस स्ट्रैटेजी साइमल्टेनियसली। क्या रिजल्ट आता है? तो बेसिकली अपने को मोटा मोटी 4 लाख रुपए में ये काम हो जाएगा अपना, ठीक है। 4 लाख रुपए में हो जाए। एक्चुअली उसमें 1 लाख था, इसमें 4.25 लाख था, तो अपने पास 4.25 लाख का कैपिटल होना चाहिए। लेकिन कंबाइन करने पे क्यों 4 लाख में काम हो रहा है? क्योंकि ये जो ड्रॉडाउन था 49 था, ये ड्रॉडाउन 65 है। लेकिन जब व्हेन यू आर रनिंग कंबाइन, टोटल ड्रॉडाउन कितना है? तो ड्रॉडाउन एडअप नहीं हुआ। इसका ड्रॉडाउन ये है, इतना ड्रॉडाउन ये है, लेकिन कंबाइंड ड्रॉडाउन 67,000 है। लेकिन रिटर्न जो है 349, 504, 8.5 लाख रिटर्न एडअप हुआ, ड्रॉडाउन एडअप नहीं हुआ। इज इट नॉट वंडरफुल? रिटर्न इज गेटिंग एडेड बट ड्रॉडाउन इज नॉट गेटिंग एडेड। वो अपने आप को काट रहा है एक दूसरे को। कभी ये स्ट्रैटेजी पैसा बनाता है, कभी वो बनाता है, कभी दोनों बनाते हैं। लुक एट नंबर ऑफ मैक्सिमम ड्रॉडाउन डेज। फर्स्ट स्ट्रैटेजी का मैक्सिमम ड्रॉडाउन डेज 251 डेज है। सेकेंड स्ट्रैटेजी का मैक्सिमम ड्रॉडाउन डेज 212 है। कंबाइंड स्ट्रैटेजी का ड्रॉडाउन डेज कितना है? 62, only 62 days. So this is the benefit of diversifying. This is the benefit of running non-correlated strategies, and this is how you can implement the CWA Monalisa framework that we talked about. And this is something you can take home as a takeaway. These 4 pillars you please remember. Return is a function of access to the leverage. You can aspire to have as much return as you possible, and you can control the risk through diversification, through non-correlation, and through hedging, and you can achieve good results. And that's from my side.
Investment in securities market are subject to market risks. Read all the related documents carefully before investing. Please read the risk disclosure documents carefully before investing in equity shares, derivatives, mutual fund, and or other instruments traded on the stock exchanges.